What is going on, everybody? Ross Johnson here, founder of smartcoach.com. And I wanted to make this video today. It's going to be a little bit different than our normal videos. It's going to be a longer one. And that is because I'm going to give you a 1 hour content training that I put on for some of our private clients and some of our private students inside some of our paid programs. So I'm going to actually give you that video right now. And what we're going to be talking about in that video is the things that we found that are working on Instagram in terms of your content, how to write better content, different types of content posts you can make, how to make offers on social media, and people have made a ton of money, got a ton of clients using the training that I'm about to show you. So without further ado, I'll let you dive in with it right now and get started. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to set up your social media to be a lead generation machine and really position you as an expert online. We're going to be diving into every single aspect of your Instagram, of your Facebook, how to set it up, how to create content, and really how to be the authority in your niche. So let's dive in. This is an organic attraction method, and this is really the first organic attraction method that we're going to be covering in this program so far, and it is called content marketing. In the next video, we are going to be talking about new age outreach, which is another one of our organic attraction methods. And that one's really for picking up the people who are ready to buy right now. Now, content marketing is a little bit different than going after people who are just ready to buy right now. If you remember earlier in this program, I showed you a pyramid, and I showed you that 97% of the market is not ready to buy right now, and we shouldn't try to force them into buying right now. What we want to do is we want to cater to the 3% of people who are ready to buy right now and really go after those people. But also, we want to go after the other 17% of people who are in information gathering mode. Now, content marketing, what it is it's an organic attraction method that we use to provide daily value to people in information gathering mode and slowly move them into buy now mode, right? So they're in our audience, they're following us on Facebook, they're following us on Instagram, maybe they're on our email list or something like that, and we're just going to be providing daily information in their information gathering mode. And eventually, when we provide enough information to that person and we provide the right kind of information, we move them slowly into buy now mode, we've established trust with them, and they buy from us. Now, here's why we actually do that. We use this method as a way to just really nurture people who aren't quite ready to buy yet. So we may pick them up, they may hear about us, we may get a referral, they may follow you on Instagram, maybe we message to them, and they're just not ready to get on the phone right now. And so now they're in our ecosystem, right? They're in our pool. And we want to just nurture that pool of potential prospects and potential leads, potential clients, and just provide them the information that they're looking for and really show them, what's going on in the market, how they should be thinking about things, and nurture them to a place when they're willing to buy. So here's how we do that. We use Instagram and we use Facebook, and we create daily content in the form of posts and stories to really provide value, insight, overcome objections that people might have in advance. That's a very powerful one that we're going to be talking about in this video. And we want to provide them with information that our prospects need before making a buying decision. Because if they're not making a buying decision, there's a reason why they haven't taken that step yet, and they need something. They need more information to be able to get to that spot. So here's when you should be doing this. I believe everyone should be doing this in their business at all times and every day. Your social media really acts as a pool where prospects hang out and they evolve over time with information, right? Information changes people. It makes them evolve, right? And as their mindset becomes more evolved and it begins to grow, they move into a place where they're ready to buy. So I see a lot of people complaining people aren't buying on their social media, and it's because they're either providing the wrong information, so they're not helping the prospect move, from information gathering mode to buy now mode, or they're simply not providing quality information, right? Or they're just not providing information consistently, or they're really not trying to capitalize on that at all. So let's talk about what actually matters on social media, right? What kind of content do you create? How does everything need to look? What really matters? What moves the needle in the information gathering mode to get someone to trust you, to listen to you, to reach out to you, to want to buy things from you? What are those things? And the first one of those things that I want to talk to you about is stories, right? When it comes to people gathering information about you or about your product or about their problem, people are addicted to stories, right? Stories can do an enormous amount of stuff. Like, I can't even go into it at all in this course. I could create a course just on stories. So I'm going to try to give you the high level on what you need to know about stories in order to really start implementing this stuff. Stories, basically, your brain is designed to listen to stories, right? And the better the story, the more you pay attention. So you can suck in people who have no idea about you with a good story, right? And stories, what they can do for you is they can position you. They can create likability, which means that, someone starts to like you, they start to trust you, they start to get to know you. And, people really buy from people that they know, that they feel like they know, and they buy from people that they like. And when it comes down to getting someone to like you, people like people who are like themselves. And this is one of the most profound things I've learned in business and in life. And I actually learned this from Tony Robbins. And this is something worth writing down. People like people who are like themselves, right? When you see someone who's similar to you, they have similar values, they have similar beliefs, they do similar things. You have things in common. And when you have things in common with people, you have a point of connection. And when you have that point of connection, you can have a powerful relationship. So you want to share stories about yourself, particularly around, how you were where they are, right? And how you overcame it. Stories of triumph, stories of success, stories that create vulnerability between you and your audience. It wasn't always easy. It wasn't always, like rainbows and butterflies. Maybe things were tough for you, right? Share that stuff. But maybe things are good for you now and you're grateful for it, right? Share how grateful you are. Share what you're doing. Share the things you've learned. Like, share stories with people. But also, it might be good for you to look into on your own time a little bit more about stories. Like, stories have a beginning, middle, and end, right? And a lot of people forget that. You have to start off in a certain place. A lot of times stories start off with someone has a problem, right? And then they go through the middle, which is like kind of how they dealt with that problem. And then, the end of the story is kind of like how they overcame that and where they're at now, right? So use that basic story framework and really think about stories you can tell your audience, things that you can use to relate to them with, and all that kind of stuff. Another really powerful thing that you can include and you should include on your social media is proof. Proof is deadly because so many people in the coaching space and in the online space, when they're buying things, they are skeptical, right? There's a lot of people out there telling them that they can help them make their life better, get their results faster, and everyone is making a promise today, including you and including me. And you need to have believability, right? And believability comes in many forms. But when you say things to people online, like, hey, I'm claiming that I can help you get this result, or hey, I can help you do X, Y, and Z, or hey, you should do this thing because it will help you. Prospects are going to say, how do I know for sure? There's a healthy level of skepticism in believing you, because if they just believe anybody and everyone, they're going to get left astray and their life isn't going to be good. So they've developed a level of skepticism. So when you're saying things online, it's really, really, really powerful to back it up with hard evidence and hard proof. Like, hey, I can help you manifest this. By the way, I just did it for this other client. Here's a screenshot of what she just said to me. It's like, oh, okay, now we know you're not lying, right? And so proof is very powerful. Now, you may be in the beginning of your business and you may not have a lot of proof. You may not have client results. You may not have ever been featured in the media. You may never have been interviewed, right? But one thing you can do is you can use statistics and research and facts and authoritative websites saying things, and you can cite those and you can reference them, and they give a lot of weight to what you're saying. So things I do in my business is I'll be like, Forbes said in 2027 that 53% of people in the United States are going to be freelancing contractors. That means that most people in the United States will not have a technical 9 to 5 job. So what does that mean? That's how it works. You say something and then you go, so what does that mean for you? Well, in that example, it's like, well, what does that mean for you? It means that you need to acquire a skill and you need to learn how to market that skill, because that's how the world is changing. And then I'm like, well, here, let me show you how to market skills, right? Let me show you how to develop skills. So it adds weight to my argument. And you could do that with so many things. You could talk about, authoritative websites, authoritative blogs, what the news is saying, what's in the media. Cite that and then use that as an example to back up what you're saying. And you can use numbers. Numbers are really, really powerful in actually convincing people of things, right? If you can throw out like, well, 33% of people do X, Y, and Z, and that's why you shouldn't. That's really powerful. So you can use that stuff. That's a form of proof. Another form of proof is client results. As your business develops, you want to definitely be a crazy person about collecting video testimonials and collecting screenshots of what people actually say to you. So anytime someone says something positive to you, that they got a result or that you helped them with something, you screenshot that and save it into a folder on your phone called results, right? And then you can whip those out. You can put them on your Instagram story. You can use them to back up what you're saying. And it surrounds you in a cloud of proof and of evidence that you know what you're talking about. You're not just on here making claims about whatever. Your stuff actually helps people, and people should listen to you. So proof is a very powerful one, and you're going to want to really focus on that over time. Another one is epiphanies, right? This is a big one, and people don't often think about this. When they're creating content online, they think that they just need to post quote unquote valuable content, right? And I see this all the time in many different industries. You see those personal trainers online. They're not saying anything in their caption on Instagram. They're just posting a picture of them with their shirt off and then saying, here's a workout, right? Well, that's not actually that valuable, is it? Because I can just go on Google and find a billion different workouts. So why am I listening to this person then, right? If it makes their content a commodity, right? And you don't want your you don't want your content to be commodity content that they can just find anywhere, right? And so the way we do that is by changing people's beliefs. And this is how we get them from information gathering mode to buy now mode. Because they're out there looking for information and they have a set of beliefs right now that are not serving them, right? So if someone has a goal and they're not reaching that goal, it means that they're really not thinking about it the right way. Because a lot of times in business, for example, people, they struggle. They struggle to get clients. They struggle to make money online, and they don't know why they can't do it. And it's because they're looking at it wrong, right? I know things. I think about things differently. And the way I think about things allows me to make way more money than a lot of people, right? So it's like, well, what are those false beliefs that people are believing that we know is not true, but they don't know is not true, right? And an example of that, is basically reframing the way that they think about it. So, in my business, it's like a lot of people think that running Facebook ads is super risky. They think they're going to put their money on the line. It's basically like gambling. And I could basically tell these people, look, I agree, Facebook ads are risky. And then I take them through a post where I basically show them, well, maybe actually not running Facebook ads is risky. Because if you don't run Facebook ads eventually in your business stops growing. And isn't that the most risky thing? That your business stops growing? And then people are like, oh yeah, I thought Facebook ads were risky. But now after reading this post, I understand that they're not risky, right? In fact, not running them is risky, right? That's called a reframe. You take a false belief that someone has and you systematically destroy it, and then you insert a new belief, and then you build up the value on it. That's really what we call an epiphany, right? Someone reads your post and they have an epiphany. once someone has an epiphany, that is powerful, right? And the more epiphanies that people have by reading your content and being on your social media page, the more they will know, like, and trust you. And the more they will buy from you, and the more they will be interested in what you have to say, because you're literally changing the way they see the world. Okay, so that's what I want you to think about too. That's another type of content that you can create is like, okay, I'm going to create this and I'm going to give someone an epiphany. And the way you start that out is by asking yourself, when you're looking at your market, when you're looking at your ideal client and the people that follow you, you think, what false beliefs are they believing? And why are they believing that? Right? What do they believe that I know isn't true? And that belief is holding them back. And you talk about that belief, and then you deconstruct why it's basically wrong, right? You don't tell them that it's wrong. You show them that it's wrong, right? So an example of that would be like if people thought that having a 9-to-5 job was the best thing ever, and they thought that having a business was risky, I would show them, look, you have a 9-to-5 job and you think that starting your own business is risky, but, haven't you noticed that like how long people stay in a job for is shrinking? 3 years ago, people would have a job for 10 years. Now people on average have a job for 1 year, right? So your job security is going out the window. And I would show them all this stuff to show them that having a job isn't as secure as they think it is. And then I would start showing them stuff about how secure having a business is and how much money there is to be made and how much potential there is. So by the time they read the post, they go from thinking that having a job is secure to thinking that having a job is not secure and that actually having a business is more secure, right? And they would go, aha, right? It's like an aha moment. We want to provide people with epiphanies, with aha moments where we change their belief and we install something that's much more powerful. Another one is offers. And people get this wrong all the time. And I'm going to tell you how they do this. A lot of times they make really weak offers on social media. They'll make a post and then at the end they'll be like, click the link in my bio. And it's like, okay, that's not really that strong, right? And they do it on every post. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but it's kind of a waste because you're not really making it irresistible. Now, when you make offers to people, and this is really important for you to understand in business, you want to make them an offer they cannot refuse. Like, it is so irresistible. It's like giving candy to a child. You talk to a 6-year-old kid and you go, hey, you want a Snickers bar? And they're like, oh my God, yeah. And then you're like, oh, never mind, I changed my mind. And they're like, no, I want the Snickers bar. Like, please give it to me. Like, what the hell? Like, I want that. Why would you say that? Like, that is the kind of offer that we want. Like, it is irresistible. They can't say no to it, right? And so when you make someone an offer, make them an offer. Don't dance around it. Don't pretend like you're not making them an offer. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to show you how to make offers later on in this video, but that's another one. Is an offer is basically you're offering someone something. You're offering them an opportunity, and it should be the opportunity of a lifetime. Hey, book a call with me to get X, Y, and Z. If you're struggling with this, I can help you with this. DM me this word and we'll get it all sorted out for you, right? It's like you're making them a full call to action where you want them to do something. And when you want someone to do something online, you need to build a fucking good case for it because people are busy and a lot of people want them to do stuff online. But to our advantage, most people, when they want someone to do something online, they go, click the link in my bio. And it's not very strong, is it? They're not like, hey, click the link in my bio. I only have one spot left and it's going to be gone at 12 o'clock. By the way, if you do this, I'll give you a free session. And you know what I'm saying? Like they need to stack up the value on it. And that's how we want to make offers. You're going to learn more about that later on in this video. Another thing that's important to do on social media is something that I call high status activities. Okay. And what you got to understand about the world is that everything in the world is a hierarchy. And when you look at someone else, you automatically place them above or below you, right? If you're in a room with Elon Musk or Oprah, you look at them and you automatically know they are above you, right? Now, obviously, I'm just talking generally here. You may disagree with that, but this is how animals operate. And everything in the world really operates in some kind of hierarchy. We have a social hierarchy, we have a financial hierarchy, we have a government hierarchy. There's hierarchies within companies. They call them company organizational charts. There's a CEO and then there's an employee, right? Like there's a pecking order. And really, when it comes down to it, is that on social media and in life, people look up to people who are above them, right? It's like, oh yeah, I look up to him. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that that person put another person above them. And that means that that person has higher status, right? And the thing is that you can become high status. And that is why you buy things from a lot of people. That's why you look up to certain people. That's why you follow certain people. You think they're above you, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, like they're further ahead, they're more successful, they're more something, right? And you want to get closer to them because everyone has a primal instinct in their body where they want to reach the peak of the pyramid. Because when you get to the top of the pyramid, this is an animal thing. You have better access to resources and better resources, and you have a better chance of survival, right? It's like, does Oprah have a better chance of survival than, a homeless person or someone who just has like a 9 to 5 part-time job? Of course she does. She has money, she has resources, she has connections, she has everything. And it's because she's high up in the hierarchy. So we also want to get high up in the hierarchy. And one of the ways we do that is by acting like we're high up in the hierarchy, right? Because people, what you got to understand about this is society decides who is higher up in the hierarchy and who is lower. So a classic example of this is, a really beautiful woman in the bar and a guy who's very afraid to approach her. And he goes, she's out of my league. What does that mean? Well, it means that that guy looked at that woman who was beautiful and decided right there he couldn't even talk to her because she's so much higher up in the hierarchy, social hierarchy, that he can't even talk to her. Now, that was his decision. That doesn't actually mean anything. He could walk up to that woman and decide that she's below him, right? And then it would be easy for him to talk to her. And that's really what it comes down to, is that people are constantly assessing who is above and below them, right? And it affects their confidence, it affects their mood, it affects everything about them. And this is really how society operates on like a very unconscious, secret, underground level. And what you need to understand is that people are assessing you this way, right? People are assessing me this way. And when you look at someone who's made $20 million and it is Forbes and is on the cover of magazines and, super famous and all these things, it's like, oh, that person's really high status. They're an important person, right? Now, what do important people do? Because they do certain things. They act certain ways. And really, all it takes to become a high status person is you need to start behaving like it. When you start behaving like a high status person, people start giving you status. So with that example, with the woman and the man in the bar, if that guy doesn't approach that woman, that's a low status. That's a low status activity. He didn't do that. Now, if he was super confident and walked right up to her and was like, hey, I'm going to buy you a drink, like, it was super cool and was like funny and like cracked a joke and stuff, she might say, oh, wow, this guy's on my level. Huh, cool. But because he didn't do that, he behaved low status. He could have behaved high status, right? And it's not like a trick or anything. But when you behave high status, people can't tell the difference, right? Because people look at your behavior. That's how they assess you on your status. And they look at your accolades and they look at, online, it's like, your social media following and your images and, how attractive you are and like, have you been featured in the media and how much money do you make? All these things are social status indicators, right? And that's why you always see guys with like their, Lamborghini or whatever. It's a status symbol, right? It's not dumb. It's a primal status symbol. So all that just to tell you that you need to start acting and behaving high status. And there are certain things that high status people do, right? People with high status read books, right? Learning. People who are high status learn, they grow, they develop, they are interesting, they share things, they're always growing, they're always learning, they're doing interesting things, right? They're hanging out with friends, right? They have movement in their life. They're not hanging out in their bedroom all day. taking the same picture over and over again in their bedroom, doing nothing, watching Netflix. Like, that's not high status. Me 2 years ago, like, I was broke. I was sleeping in a car. I was literally sleeping in a car for a while. And, I now have all sorts of status. I've been featured in Entrepreneur, I've been featured in Forbes, I've been interviewed by people. And the reason why I have that, I have money, I have a car, I have a nice house, like, I have all these different things. And it's not about money. I want to really stress that. It's not about money. It is about your behavior. It is about what you are showing online. And you need to show people that you have status, that you're not just some nobody person who's, walking around in the woods 24/7. Like, this is what it looks like when I look on some people's Instagram. I'm like, it doesn't look like you have your shit together. And that's how it should look. It should look like you have your shit together. It should look like, some things that are high status is like certain things are just effortless for you, right? And it doesn't need to be like, oh my God, my life is so easy, but it's like, you're hanging out with friends, you're doing things, like, you're out doing things. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but I just wanted to go into these things from a high level and really let you understand, like, these are things that people are looking for, and these are things that people get value from on your social media. Now let's talk about how to actually write content for social media, for Facebook, for Instagram. How do you actually write your posts? Well, this is kind of what a post looks like, okay? You have an image at the top, and then you have a headline, a lead, some body copy, and a call to action, CTA, or what I just call like a wrap, right? Like, it's just like you wrap it up. Now we're gonna dive into this, but what I want to let you know is I might refer to this writing as copy, and what I'm calling it is copywriting. Copywriting is basically, what you're writing down, right? It's like marketing material that you've written. So let's first start with the image. When it comes to images on social media, you want to try to get people's attention because you have to stop them from scrolling, but it doesn't always have to be about getting their attention. Because if I tell you just get their attention, you're probably going to start creating some pretty weird content. But, your images, they could be you doing a high status activity, right? They could be you out doing something. They could show you learning. They could show you reading a book. They could show you with an animal, with a pet, with a dog. Like, they could show you with your friends. And it can be relevant to the post, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. If it is, that's even better, but it doesn't have to be. Now, when it comes to images, what is most important is that you have good images. Like, you need good images, guys. And a lot of people struggle with this because they don't have what I call sensory acuity, which means that they miss small subtleties in photos that make photos look good. Now, what I'm going to recommend for you right now is that, if you don't know how to take photos, you don't know how to pose, you don't know how to do all that stuff, honestly, spend 20 minutes, go on YouTube, and look up how to model. I know it sounds so ridiculous, but I've done this myself, and I found it insanely helpful, right? I used to be so awkward when I was taking photos. I would hire a photographer, which you do not need to do, and I just wanted them to boss me around and show me how to pose so I didn't look weird in photos, right? Like, I didn't get it. And I went on YouTube and I was like, I'm tired of this. Like, I want to feel confident when people are taking photos of me or when I'm taking photos of myself. And, I said, well, who knows how to do that? Who always looks natural on camera? Well, models do, right? And it doesn't have to be a bikini model. I mean, I was looking at male models, right? And, there's a lot of great YouTube videos of models who are like, hey, these are 7 different poses you can use on Instagram. And that's what I did. I learned like 5 or 6 different poses that I could make. And then I make those same poses in different scenarios. And it became very easy for me to shoot, content that looked good. And you want your images like pretty close up. Like, you want to be close to the camera. You don't want to be off in the distance somewhere and someone's shooting a photo of you really far away. That stuff doesn't get good engagement on social media, okay? We want people to see your face. You should be excited in your photos. Instagram and Facebook, they do facial recognition. I'm not going to go into this a whole lot, but they have crazy AI facial recognition technology that will analyze your entire photo every single time you post it. And they'll be like, there's a book in this photo. There's trees in this photo. The people in this photo are happy. People in this photo are smiling. There's three men and 1 woman in this photo. There's a dog in this photo. We think it's this breed. On every single ad, image, everything you post on social media, they're doing that, right? You've probably seen a very basic level of this, when you post something on Facebook and it says, oh, is this Ross Johnson that you're with? Maybe you should tag him. Like they know who I am and they're trying to help you tag me because they recognize my face from other things on the internet. That's an example of that. So, you want to be smiling, you want to be excited. They like that. They want people to be happy on social media. You want to be up close to the frame. You want to have bright photos and you want to edit your photos. And I'm going to show you some examples of poor photos later on in this video. But, you want to shoot high quality images. And I'm going to also show you some tips on how to do that later. But those are some tips for your images, okay? And you want them to be of you, right? And yes, you can post some quotes and stuff like that, but you want at least 50% of your images to be you. And if not, like all of them, because that is how people develop a connection with you. So those are some tips on your images. Now let's talk about the copy, right? Let's talk about the actual words you're writing in your post. Every post that you write needs to have a headline. Now, when it comes to writing a headline, it doesn't need to be anything crazy, right? You need to imagine like the user experience here. And really what you need to understand is that when someone is scrolling on social media, they are thinking, what's in it for me? Why should I invest my energy and time into clicking see more and reading this post, right? And we need to give them that right away. And, really, people, their brains are trying to limit the amount of calories that they're expending 24/7. That's what your brain's doing. It's saying, is this important to me? Is this relevant to me? Because if it's not, I don't want to waste any of my energy, any of my calories on this. It's like a survival thing, and it's very primal. And so that's why. And you know what? People realize this in like 1 second. They look at the headline, they look at the first sentence, and they decide, is this relevant to me? Is this something I feel like I need to read? What is this? Is this important? And then they just swipe away, right? So, we use the image. We make good, high quality images, things that people want to look at. Then in the headline, you want to do a couple things. You want to either make sure that it's relevant to them, right? Like right away, they know that this is relevant to them. And it doesn't mean that you say it doesn't mean that you need to say like, dear moms, or like in every single like thing, right? Like if you're trying to target moms, I don't know. You don't need to say like moms, moms, moms. You just need to make it like, is this something that I'm going to get benefit from, right? So you can include like a benefit in your headline. Like when they read it, they know they're going to get something and they kind of know what they're going to get. Another thing you can do with your headline is make it like intriguing, right? Like in copywriting, when you're writing things, headlines should like be intriguing, right? Like something they read and they go, oh, I feel like I have to read more, right? Like, well, what are they talking about? I need to read more of that. And, it could be like, the deadly secret, ... And it's like, well, what deadly secret? And they click more and then they're like, you know what I'm saying? That's not the best example that you would be using. You probably wouldn't say the deadly secret, but you've probably seen those magazines, when you're shopping at the grocery store of like Esquire and all this stuff, and they say crazy shit on them. They have headlines that are just wild. And you go, what? You know what I mean? It's like Barack Obama slept with Hillary Clinton. Who would have thought? And you're like, wait, what? And you like open up the you like have to look at it, right? It's so intriguing. It's so mysterious. And you're not going to be writing headlines quite like that, but just using that as a very obvious example. You want to use a headline that someone's going to say, oh yeah, that's relevant to me. You're going to use a headline where they go, okay, this sounds beneficial. Maybe I should read more. Or, wow, this sounds very interesting. Like, I feel like I have to read more because I'm so curious what they're talking about, right? Now, a lead is the part after the headline. And the lead is designed to continue to get them to read, right? It's kind of a transition between the headline and the body copy. And it kind of sets up the body copy, right? Like, well, what are you going to say in this post? Like, what is this post about, right? And you use the headline as a way to get them to like click, right? You want to get them to click it. You want to get them to read more. That's kind of the point of the headline. You suck them in to reading and opening up the full post. Then the lead, it kind of sets everything up. The lead should also like be designed to get them to read the next sentence. Every single thing in here is kind of designed to get them to read the next sentence. So the lead is like, you really want to like suck them into the post. You want to make it interesting. You don't want to like necessarily make your point right away. You know, a lot of people when they write content, they'll write a headline and be like, you know, you could say something like, you know, what 99% of online coaches don't know. And then it's like, well, what don't I know? And then people click it, right? You get that curiosity. And then they open it up and it's like, they need to get better at sales. Here's why. It's like you just give it to them right away, right? That would be a bad example of a lead. A lot of people do that. They make this mysterious headline and then they just immediately tell them, right? You would want to say something like, you know what, 99% of coaches don't know. And then the lead would be like, and I didn't know this for 7 years and it cost me $1 million. You know, once I learned what I'm about to tell you, it changed my business forever. Now let's like dive in, right? It's like you keep continuing the curiosity and then it's like kind of like, let's dive in. And then I'm like, in the body copy, I'm delivering that value, right? I've made a setup. I've sucked them in. I've got them committed to reading the post. And now I'm about to deliver that value in the body copy. And the body copy is going to be designed to deliver that full value that you're promising in your post. It's going to deliver that benefit. It's going to deliver on that headline that you wrote. And it needs to be relevant to that headline that you wrote. And it needs to do one of those things that we talked about earlier, right? Like it's going to provide proof. You're going to tell a story. You're going to provide someone with an epiphany, with an aha moment. One of those things, right? And that's really what your body copy is going to do. You're going to deliver the meat of the argument. Now, when it comes to the end of the post, how do you finish it? Well, you can do a call to action. And I would use this sparingly, right? Like you could use like, you know, why don't you DM me if you want to know more information about this, right? That would be a call to action. You're telling them to do something. Or maybe your post was about something that they should do on their own. You go, now today I want you to go tell your husband this thing because after you read this, you're armed with all the knowledge that you need to know to go do that. So go do it. And, you know, comment down below if you're going to go do that today, right? You're calling them to action. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to reach out to you or click the link in your bio or buy something, but maybe you just tell them to do something. You have an opportunity to do that after you provide people with value online. Now, you can also do something I call a wrap, which is just like you wrap it up and you kind of put a bow on your argument, right? Every time you have a post, it's kind of like you're making an argument for something, right? You're convincing someone of something. You're trying to sell them on an idea, right? And that's one way to think about it. Now, wrap is kind of like, okay, so now that you know that you should blah, 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 right? Like you're just wrapping this thing up and putting a bow on it and kind of closing out the argument. So that's really what the anatomy of a post looks like. Now, I thought it might be helpful to bring you through a couple of examples so that we can break down like the headline, the lead, the body, the call to action, or the wrap, and you can really start to see. So here's a photo of me just kind of flexing, right? And, you know, this kind of stands out a little bit on social media because it's kind of drastic, right? Like I don't post a lot of photos of myself flexing or doing anything like that. I'm not in fitness. So a lot of people who follow me are like, oh, like what's going on here, right? And then the headline that I hit these people with is, you know, there's a reason intuitive business owners struggle to get clients. Anyone who's an intuitive business coach is going to be like, well, what is the reason, right? I got their curiosity. I sparked that interest. So a lot of people are going to click on that who fit the bill for an intuitive business person, right? And they're going to want to read more. And so that's my headline. Now, what I did after that was I created my lead, right? And I said, and it's completely invisible to them. They're like, oh my God, there's a reason that I'm not getting clients. And wait, it's completely invisible to me. And it's masquerading around as a strength that's secretly destroying all the meaningful progress that I've worked for. They're just kind of like, what? What is going on? Wait, what's this thing, right? They're getting more and more interested. And then I tell them, you know, that thing that's plaguing them is denial of logical thinking, more specifically, second order thinking. Now they're going to go, well, hold on a second. What is second order thinking? You see how like each one of my sentences leads them to the next thing because I'm not quite delivering it yet. Now that was my lead. So this is my headline. This is my lead. And then I'm saying, now I'm about to go into the body. I say, you see, in life, Actions don't have single consequences. Actions create a series of consequences. That's a reframe. That's going to give someone an epiphany, right? I'm giving someone an epiphany in this post. That's really what I'm doing in this post. So people often think, this is the false belief, that when they do something, there's just a consequence, right? If I eat this ice cream, then I won't feel good. But really, there's all these other consequences. If I eat this ice cream, then I won't feel good, and then I'll get fatter, and then I'll want to eat more ice cream tomorrow. And it'll create a chain cycle reaction that's not good. So the question is like, well, do I really want to eat the ice cream, right? So I'm showing them, for example, the first consequence of a workout plan is pain, right? The second is that you get in better shape. And the third is that you might be happier, and so on. And what often happens in life is that the first consequence of your actions, of positive actions, is actually painful and uncomfortable. So a lot of people are confused about that. They think that everything they do in life should just feel good. But I'm telling them, so that's the false belief. And I'm telling them a lot of things that are painful the first time you do, like right when you do them, are actually have great benefits long term. And so I'm explaining that to them here. And I'm like, all successful people think in second order thinking. So I'm showing them like, look, you thought this old way and it's preventing you from getting clients. You need to start thinking this new way, right? I see it all too often, and I'm explaining it to them, and I'm showing them, and I'm building my case. Now I get to the end of this, and I show my message to you. So this is what I would say is a wrap, right? This isn't really a call to action. I'm wrapping it up, and I'm kind of bringing my point to a head, and I'm putting a bow on it. I'm saying, if the first thing is painful, it probably has second, third, and fourth consequences afterwards that you should consider. So do the hard shit. Use logic. Feelings can sometimes be deceptive when it comes to success, right? So I'm saying, feelings are important, but so is logic, right? And that's what a lot of people forget. They just trust their feelings 24/7, which are valuable, but they just deny logic completely. So that would be an example of a post, and that would be like an epiphany post, right? Now, this is Kristen, and this is an example of a story post. So she started her thing, and she said, this is her headline. 4 years ago, I was in an extremely toxic relationship. Really, Kristen? What exactly happened in this toxic relationship? That's interesting. I want to know more about that, right? Sounds like drama. People love drama. So she goes right into the story. She goes, so she's setting the scene. This is her lead. She goes, I had just finished 5.5 years of studying to be a teacher and realized it was not for me. It's like, oh my God, you were studying for 5 years to be a teacher and then completely changed your path? I want to read more. And she goes on and on about this. And then she explains more in her body about, her journey and what's really happened for her. And then her business blew up and all these things have happened. So she was really down in the dirty weeds of life and she was in a struggle. And then she showed her journey and now how successful she is. And then she's wrapping this up by making it a lesson for you. So there's something in it for you. She goes, but your external reality will shift as you shift, right? So that's almost kind of an epiphany too. She has a story, but she's also teaching you something. And then she actually does a call to action down here. So she didn't do a wrap. She said, hey, my link is in my bio if you're ready to make a shift like this, right? So that's another example. And then here's one. This is a proof post, right? So this is my girlfriend Jess right now, and she's got this Porsche that we helped her buy, and she's been successful enough to buy this Porsche. It's a very expensive car, and look at how happy she is, right? And she said 3 things I learned that enabled me to buy a Porsche at 26. That's proof. Jess is a business coach, right? So she's showing I know how to make money, right? I can back this up. I can buy a Porsche. That's how much money I have. So anyone who wants to make money online can look at her and be like, you know what? That's kind of a symbol that she knows what she's talking about, right? That's proof. And then I want to go into this a little bit. This is my feed, right? And I wanted to show you that I'm doing high status activities and I'm showing people that I'm doing high status activities. Here I am smiling, I'm out drinking, and it looks like I'm having a good time, right? I'm having a fun time, I'm relaxing. Here's me giving my parents a bunch of money and we're smiling and everyone looks happy, right? That's high status. Here I am reading a book. That's high status. Here I am in front of a nice car. That's high status, right? Let's see what else we got going on here. Here I am traveling. That's high status. Traveling again. I'm out with some friends. We're eating oysters. Oysters are expensive. That's high status. Looks like we're having a blast. You get the point here, right? I'm doing things that other people can't do or other people want to do or other things that are interesting. I'm not just sitting in my bedroom taking photos of myself. And honestly, a lot of people do that on Instagram. So that is what I wanted to show you. Those are some different examples of, actually creating content and really what it looks like to break down a post. Now, let's talk about how to actually create Instagram stories or Facebook stories. And Facebook stories, I'll be honest with you, they kind of suck. And no one really watches Facebook stories, but you can share them over there if you want to. I think Instagram stories, that's really where the power is. And again, you want to be using these same things on your Instagram stories. So whatever you're doing on your actual posts on Instagram and on Facebook, just share that same stuff verbally on your stories, right? Tell people stories on your stories. Literally, open up your phone and be like, hey, I was thinking about this time last year where I had this really hard time, and I noticed a lot of people in my audience are having a time like that. Let me tell you how I got over it, right? You need to show up on stories all the time, every single day. You can provide proof. If someone messages you, that you helped them, blur out their name or something and post that on your stories and say, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is why I do what I do. I'm so excited to help people like this, right? Epiphanies. You can tell people, hey, have you ever realized this? Well, it's actually like this, right? You can share that. You can create an aha moment. You can also do offers on your stories. You can call people to action. You can tell them to sign up. You can tell them to swipe up if you have 10,000 followers. And you can show high status activities. You can show that you're working out, right? That's a high status activity, right? People like it when other people are in shape. That's something that successful people do. Another thing successful people do is that they read and they travel and they have friends and they're making money and their life is going in an upward spiral. And that's really like an important thing that I should mention. When you're on an upward momentum, an upward trajectory in your life, and you're demonstrating that on social media, people will want to be around that because people want to be around people who are going somewhere positively. And the more you can make it look like you're going somewhere positively and that you have something going on, people are going to get sucked into that. Now, let's talk about tips for creating quality content. And one thing I didn't include in the slides here, but I want to mention again, is if you don't know how to model, like if you don't know how to take photos and pose and stuff, and that's uncomfortable for you, I swear, just take 20 minutes and look up like tips on how to pose for social media and modeling tips online. It honestly is going to change the game for you. It changed the game for me so much. Now, one thing that people don't know is if you have an iPhone, your camera does not record in the highest quality that it can, right? So you can open up your camera settings. If you have an iPhone, I don't have an iPhone. I don't have an Android. I have an iPhone. So I don't know how it is on Android. I imagine it's probably pretty similar. But if you have an iPhone, open it up, go to the settings, open up the camera settings, and you'll see that it looks like this. Now, you're going to want to change record video to 4K and 30 frames per second. You're going to be blown away at how much higher quality your camera is for recording videos. So that's one thing that can actually really, really help your camera and anything you're recording, anything you're really doing with your phone, it's going to really boost that quality. And, this is just an example of some different content, right? So I'm sorry to whoever this is that I found online. I found this on Instagram. And honestly, this is a terrible photo, right? But I see people posting stuff like this all the time. They're like, but Ross, I'm doing a high status activity. I'm about to go work out with my protein shake. Wrong. This is a terrible photo. It's dark. There's shadows. Like, you're not smiling. It's just a really low quality image. And really, I cannot stress this enough. And I have tried to teach many, many people this, the difference between these two images. And I would say about 90% of people get it. But 10% of people, they really need to get this drilled into their head. And, you want to go look at stuff online and really try to look at other people's photos and understand like, wow, I like this photo. Why do I like this photo? Why are these influencers that have 100,000 followers posting great content, and what makes their content great? Like, ask these questions. You don't want to post content and images like this. I don't care if you're just trying to get a post out there. Like like we mentioned earlier, like this type of image on the left, that's not going to get attention, right? When it's competing with images like Kristen's on the right? When you see these things in your Instagram feed, which one are you going to like? Which one are you going to pay attention to, right? Which one are you going to feel like, oh yeah, I should work with her, right? Kristen or this other person. So Kristen's photo, like look at how beautiful it is, right? I bet Kristen took this on an iPhone. You know, it's nothing crazy. And it doesn't mean you need to be on a boat in paradise, but I'm just saying that like the photo is clear, Kristen is posing, Kristen is happy, it looks fun. Like there's so much going on in this image, right? It's a beautiful image. And you really, you know, when you want to be successful on Instagram, when we're talking about organic social media, you do need to have good photos, okay? You need to have good photos. You can't just go to the park and, you know, have your husband or your girlfriend take a bunch of photos with you on the jungle gym, or like, you know, go get a bunch of headshots and just post a bunch of headshots all the time. Like people need variety. They want to see you doing things, right? And so this is like a really high status activity that Kristen's doing, right? She has some time off. She's on a boat. She's, you know, has a glass of something. She looks happy. She looks beautiful. Looks bright, you know, it looks fun. And people love that. They want to see you having fun on social media. They want to see you doing stuff, right? So try to really pay attention to your photos. And I don't want you to overanalyze it, but like the photo needs to be bright. It needs to be in focus. You need to be in the forefront of the frame. You can't be far away. And, you know, the image quality just needs to be good. Now let's talk about how to make irresistible offers, because this is something that's a little bit different than writing and creating an Instagram post, right? When you're writing Instagram posts, when you're writing Facebook posts online, a lot of people, like I told you earlier, they just like click the link in my bio at the end of their post. And it's like, that's not an offer, right? That's not irresistible. That's actually resistible, right? I can just easily swipe away and say, no, I'm not intrigued. I'm not interested, right? There's not enough value built. Now, when we're making irresistible offers, one thing you want to do is like when you're making an offer online, when you want your clients or your audience or your prospects to do something, you command it. Tell them to do it. Don't hide. Go full out, right? 150% effort. Make it so irresistible they can't say no. And this is where I see a lot of people making mistakes. They're half in, half out. They're making these tiny little offers everywhere. No one even knows they do coaching. Let everyone know that you do coaching. Like get on top of a mountain with a megaphone and scream it like to everyone on earth that you do coaching. And when you make an offer, when you want someone to fill out your application, when you want someone to book a call with you, you spend the time to build up that value that they need to see in order to take action, right? And if you want to make more money, you need to make more offers. And this is what almost nobody is going to tell you. And I'm telling you this because I've been through so many programs and I have a lot of clients. They don't understand what an offer even is. An offer is like full out, guns blazing. Like you're not like necessarily providing educational content and then making an offer. You're making an offer. Why don't you get on the phone with me so we can do a, you know, strategy session that'll be worth $1,000 where I show you exactly how we can help you achieve your dreams in the next 90 days, no matter what they are, using my secret manifestation method that has helped over 100 people achieve their dreams. Like that's an irresistible offer, right? And it's like, by the way, I only have one spot left and it's going to be gone by midnight. You better act now. It's like, oh my God, I have to do that. Like, it's not like, oh, click the link in my bio, right? That's not a good offer. And when you want to make more money, you need to have a strong offer. You need to make offers. You got to go, I'm going to make an offer today. And you write it out and you send it, right? And the whole point of it is to show people that you have value to offer and then tell them, like, if you want this, like, you need to sign up with me. So here are some different examples that you can use. And you're going to want to refer back to this video because the stuff's powerful that I'm about to show you. So this is a 24-hour post, right? And basically the way it works is you figure out what is the number one bullseye problem that you solve, that you're the best in the world at solving. And we covered this earlier in the program. What's that one result that you're going to help people with? What do you want to be known for helping people with? For me, it's clients, right? So a lot of the examples you're going to see are all around getting clients. And I'm like, need more clients? Right away, if someone reads that, they know it's relevant to them, right? They know it's relevant to them because I just nailed their bullseye problem. Need more clients? Want to add an extra $10,000 to $20,000 a month to your business? Like, who doesn't want to do that? Who's an online coach, right? It's irresistible. And I say, DM me the word clients. And, I had some caption under here that was like, DM me the word clients. I have something for you, right? I want to show you something. So anyone who's on my feed who sees this and they need more clients and they want to add an extra $10,000 to $20,000 a month to their business, they're going to DM me the word clients. And I'm going to take them through my direct message script, which I'm going to show you in the next video, right? And that's how I do it, right? This is called fishing, right? That's the bait. Hey, you want this bait? You want to get some clients? I know you do. Why don't you DM me the word clients? You know what I'm saying? And you got to use your own result for that. Want to find the love of your life? Are you still looking for a partner? DM me the word relationship, and I might have something really cool you want to check out, right? And then you bring them into a conversation, you invite them to a call, and you enroll them in your program. And this is a 24-hour post because we leave it up for 24 hours and then we delete it, right? So this doesn't look good on your feed, does it? This isn't a very sexy looking piece of content, but it's an offer, right? And you can post this a couple times a week. You make this, you post it for 24 hours, then you just delete it off your feed. It's super simple. Another one is this 15-second story. Same idea, right? Need more clients? Want to add an extra $3,000 to $5,000 a month to your business? DM me the word clients, right? And in my video, I'm just saying the same thing. I'm saying, hey, if you're an online coach and you need more clients and you want to learn how to add an extra $3,000 to $5,000 a month to your business with my predictable system, DM me the word clients and I'll show you how, or I'll show you something, or I have something for you, or I think I have something that would be interesting for you to look at, right? That's it. The post doesn't need to be more than 15 seconds. It's just an offer, right? I'm just calling them to action. Hey, if you want this, DM me, right? Then when they DM me, I take them through my script, which I'm going to show you in the next video. And you can make this a couple times a week. So other than this stuff, guys, it's just valuable stuff. You're out there, you're providing proof, you're providing stories. You're not like asking for anything. You're providing that value, right, that people need in the information gathering mode. And you're feeding that, you're nurturing them. And then these offers, this is how we're capitalizing on that 3%. So once people get enough information, you'll have an audience where people are at all different stages of their buying journey. Some people will be just entering the information phase. Maybe they need 3 months of information. But some people who aren't ready today are going to be ready in 3 days. You know what I'm saying? So we want to be making these offers to them. And we're calling them to action. It's like, hey, if you're ready, if you just got to that buy now mode, why don't you DM me? Because I can get you that result. And we're making these offers to them, right? So we're providing that value for the 17% that are in information gathering mode. And then with the other 3%, we're making these offers. We're calling them to action. Here's another one. This one's powerful, but it requires you to have some results, right? And you can do this same sequence. So these are 3 Instagram stories that I made back to back. The first one is I posted a result, right? And I circled it. I made it very clear what the result was. You can see it right there. And this is just a text that someone sent me. And then I said, DM me to get a personal video response explaining how we achieved that result, right? And then a bunch of people DM'd me and I showed that people were DMing me, right? So I showed proof that this was an in-demand thing. Now, the last part of this, the scarcity thing, you don't have to do that. If a lot of people don't reach out to you, you don't have to do that, right? But if you do get like 20 people reaching out to you, well, then you should post that and be like, oh my God, so many people are reaching out for this. Because people want things that are in demand, right? And it looks like this offer is becoming scarce, right? Like, oh my God, so many people are reaching out to this. Maybe they're not going to send a video to everyone, right? Scarcity gets people to act. That's what you need to understand. Scarcity gets people to act. So I'm like, oh my God, like, I got 18 direct messages in 12 minutes. I guess you guys really want this. People want things that other people want, right? So I'm using that to my advantage. Cool, sending personal videos to everyone tomorrow. So I'm waiting until everyone messages me, and then I'm going to send everyone the same video, right? So I'm going to get them into a conversation, and I'm going to send them a video, right? I'm going to make a quick video and be like, hey, this is how we got this result. This should take you 2 minutes, right? You just open up your phone or you do a quick screen recording of whatever it is you're doing. You're like, oh my God, like this client had this problem. This is how we solved it. By the way, if you're looking to get help with a problem like that, let me know. I'd love to book a call and talk to you about how I can show you how my system can help you get results like this, right? You're just using this stuff as bait. You're just using this stuff as bait. You're saying, hey, everyone in my audience, is there anyone who's in the 3% of people who are ready to buy right now? Check out this result. DM me if that's you. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, I am. And you go, okay, cool. Glad to know that you're in the buying now phase. Do you want to hop on a call? I can provide some value to you, or I can send you a video. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm interested. That's how we capture these people. That's how we reel them in and make the sale. That's how we close them. Other than that, you're just posting content. And you can already see how powerful this is because people don't do this. They don't do this stuff. They just get on social media and they just provide value to people and they just think that people are just going to reach out to them. That's not how it works, guys. You have to provide value and then you have to tell them what you want them to do. And you have to show them like, hey, you see this really sexy result? You want that? DM me. I'll show you how to get it, right? And then they DM you and you show them something and then you say, let's get on a call, right? You move them to buying. Here's another one. Now this looks overwhelming, but let me break it down for you. So this is a Facebook post and you can see I got 341 comments on this post, right? So I said, tomorrow morning, I'm releasing a free mini course on how to market your business during the pandemic. No selling, just straight content for 5 videos explaining a strategy that earned me over $500,000 in sales, right? You see how irresistible that is? Hey, get this thing for free that made me over $500,000 in sales. How do you say no to that? You can't. You can't say no to that, right? Anyone who wants to make more sales, they can't say no to that. And I say, if you want it, just drop a gift below. Super easy. I'm making it very easy for them to get my offer, right? Now, what's actually happening here? The first thing I'm doing is I'm reducing resistance, right? So I said, this is free and I'm not going to sell you. And you don't have to do it exactly like this, but I'm like, look, this is a free thing. It's easy to get, no resistance. Then I told them what I'm releasing, a mini course. For you, this could be like a case study, right? Hey, tomorrow I'm releasing a free case study on how my client was able to achieve this result, right? And why it's relevant, right? So for me in this post, it was because there's a coronavirus pandemic going on, right? So I'm staying relevant with the times. Now, this can be relevant to your customer. You could say, tomorrow morning, I'm releasing a free case study on how my client was able to manifest the life of her dreams. Now, if anyone wants to manifest the life of their dreams, we know that that's relevant to them, right? Then I added proof. And I said, this made me over $500,000 in sales. So that's why they should care about it, right? Now, you could say something like, this helped my client, get a car. This helped my client find a new job, and now she's making 6 figures. Whatever the proof is, if you have any, it's going to help your case, right? Another one's an easy call to action, right? I told them, hey, all you got to do is drop a gift below. You can say that, or you could say like, all you got to do is message me the word clients, message me the word manifest, right? Super easy for someone to do, very, very low commitment. And then now you're having a conversation with someone who's an interested buyer. So that's how we do this stuff.